Good evening. Today is Rosh Chodesh Sivan, and on Rosh Chodesh Sivan, all the Yidden gathered together in Har Sinai, and we were as one nation, with one heart. Everybody was healthy. Everybody was expecting to receive the Torah, which is about in a week from now, exactly a week from now. So today we're going to continue learning Hilchos Deos. And Hilchos Deos speaks about 11 mitzvahs. And the mitzvahs that we are talking about today, we actually learned the last mitzvah of last week, said not to hate one's fellow Jew. Today we're going to learn how to admonish a wrongdoer, not to shame, not to oppress the unfortunate. Do you see my screen? So we're going to start with the mitzvah, Perek, chapter number 6, halacha number 6. When one person wrongs another, the latter should not remain silent, and despite him, states concerning the wicked. And Absalom did not speak to Amnon, neither good nor bad, nor Absalom, for Absalom hated Amnon. So the story happened that Amnon did not treat Absalom's sister properly, and therefore Absalom was hating him in his heart for mistreating his sister. And then instead of telling him and admonish him and in a way take out from his heart this bad feeling, he kept it in, and then eventually he killed him. So therefore, the commanded is to make matter known to the person who bothers you. You have to say him, why did you do this to me? Why did you wrong me regarding that matter? As it says in Leviticus, you shall surely admonish your colleague. If afterwards the person who committed the wrong asks his colleague to forgive him, he must do so. A person should not be cruel when forgiving, as implied in Avraham prayed to Hashem. Okay, so we should not hate our brothers, because the hate will afterwards lead us to hurting them. Okay, and then if somebody asks you forgiveness, you should not be cruel to forgive. And in the story in Bereshit speaks that how Hashem punished Avimelech, the king of Plishtim, for taking Sarah. And then he returned Sarah to Abraham, and Abraham prayed to Avimelech he should become healthy. So though Abraham had been wronged, he was willing to forgive Avimelech. I mean, Abraham had something wrong done to him. He was willing to forgive Avimelech. So therefore, from here we learn Hilchos Tshuva. It is forbidden for a person to be cruel and refuse to be appeased. Instead, he should be easily pacified and difficult to anger. When the person who wronged him asks for forgiveness, he should forgive him with a full heart. This is the path of the seed of Israel. In contrast, the insensitive Gentile, their wrath is preserved forever. Therefore, because similarly, when the Gibeonites did not forgive, as they described that the Gibeonites were not among the children of Israel, then David HaMelech said, I don't want them to be among our people. Halacha number 7. It is a mitzvah for a person who sees that his fellow Jew has sinned or is following an improper path to attempt to correct his behavior and to inform him that he is causing himself a loss by his evil deeds. As he stated, you shall surely admonish your colleague. Now, a person who rebukes a colleague, whether because of a wrong committed against him or because of a matter between his colleague and Hashem, he should rebuke him privately. He should speak with him patiently and gently to inform him that he is only making these statements for his colleague's own welfare, to allow him to merit the life to the world to come. If he accepts the rebuke, it is good. And if not, he should rebuke him a second and a third time. Indeed, one is obligated to rebuke a colleague who does wrong until the latter strikes him and tells him, I will not listen. Whoever has the possibility of rebuking his sinners and fails to do so is considered responsible for that sin, for he had the opportunity to rebuke the sinners. I included here the link to the Pirkei Avos with the Rambam, the Pirush of the Rambam. And I think it's very interesting to read it. I mean, this is what the Rambam writes, but this is actually the Pirush of Rabbi Tauger. Okay. At first, a person who admonishes a colleague should not speak to him harshly until he becomes embarrassed. As it stated, you shall not bear a sin because of him. That is, what our sages said, should you rebuke him to the point that his face changes? The Torah says, no, you should not embarrass him in public. From this, we learn that it is only allowed to rebuke somebody until the point that he is going to listen to you and not be embarrassed. It is a pious behavior if a person who was wronged by a colleague would rather not admonish him or mention the matter at all because the person who wronged him was very boorish or because he was mentally disturbed. What is boorish? It comes from the word boor. Boor is a person who's crude, who doesn't have good qualities of intellect, or good qualities of character. So if any of these people did wrong to you, try to forgive them because they are totally without bearing any feeling of hate or admonishing him. The Torah is concerned only with those who carry feelings of hate. Okay? So if you feel somebody who is not able to receive your admonishment, you should forgive him and you should not admonish him because it's not going to help. And this is the way of Hasidus. The Torah was concerned about hate. Okay? Since the Torah mentions the mitzvah to admonish directly after the prohibition against hating a fellow Jew, there is an obvious connection between the two. The mitzvah to admonish is necessary to prevent feeling of hatred. If one is able to rise above those feelings without admonishing, there is no need to do so. Then a person is obligated to show great care for orphans and widows because their spirits are very low and their feelings are depressed. This applies even if they are wealthy. We are commanded to show this attention even to the king's widow and to his orphans. And it says, do not mistreat any widow or orphan. Okay? So how do you treat them? You give them honor. You treat them in a way that will give them honor. Okay? So this is, we learned the laws of Hilchos Deos. And now we're going to go to learn, this concludes chapter 6. And next week we'll learn chapter 7, and that will conclude Hilchos Deos. So now in chapter 5, Pirkei Avos, which is the Pirkei Avos we learned this past Shabbos, and I'm going to go to this chapter. We learn that there are 7 things or 7 characteristics in a boor, a clod, and 7 in a wise man. So what is the difference between a wise man and a boor? A wise man, and I just want to read what the Rambam says. Behold, I will first explain these character types that are frequently repeated in the words of our sages. And they are boor, the ignoramus, and am haaretz, an unformed person, a golem, the wise man, and a pious man. So what is a boor? A boor literally means an empty pit. Is a man that does not have intellectual virtues nor dispositional virtues, meaning to say neither wisdom nor ethics. And he also does not have acquisition of knowledge. It is as if he is naked of the good and of the bad. And he is called boor. Compare him to the land that is not sown with anything. And that is called sde boor, an empty field. An am haaretz is a man that has dispositional virtues, but he does not have intellectual virtues. Meaning to say that he has the knowledge of the ways of the world. He is derech eretz, but does not have Torah in his hands. and he is called an Am Haaretz, literally people of the land, meaning to say that he is good for the settling of the land and so the societies of the states, since he has dispositional virtues through which he will connect with others, as we explained in the beginning of our essay. And an unformed person is a man that has intellectual virtues and dispositional virtues. However, they are not complete and properly organized. Rather, they have clutter and confusion, and there is a lack mixed with them. And because of this, he is called a golem, to compare him to a tool that a craftsman has made that has the initial forms of its function, but is missing its completion and refinement, like a knife or a sword that the blacksmith has made, but is not completely formed. And their form comes to them before they sand them and before they sharpen them and smoothen them or engrave something on them. So the golem has characteristics, has good virtues, but it's not refined. And these 7 topics that we're going to learn about are going to compare them and say what needs to be perfected in order to become a wise man. A wise man or pious man, okay, so a wise man is one that which has the 2 types of virtues and they come to completeness as is needed. A pious man is somebody who is a little higher than a wise man. Pious man has added virtues, meaning to say that the dispositional virtues to the point that he inclines a little towards one of the extreme, as we have explained in the 4th chapter. And so his deeds will be greater than his wisdom. And because of this supplement, he is called a pious man. As the increase of something is called chesed, okay? Whether that increase is for good or for evil. And he said here that the wise man will have these 7 virtues, and they are great fundamentals. And because of that, he focuses on them, as through them analysis and study and proper action are possible. And 4 of them are dispositional virtues, and they are as follows. A wise man does not speak in front of someone who is greater than him in wisdom. The second thing, he does not interrupt the words of his fellows. The 4th thing, about that which he has not heard, he says, I have not heard anything. Right. And he is not stubborn, but when he hears the truth, he concedes to it, and even about that which he is able to refute and to disagree with and to misconstrue, he does not want to do it. And this is his saying, and he concedes to the truth. And the following 3 are intellectual virtues. The first is that when a deceiver deceives him with his rhetoric of deception, he should not be impulsive and remain in doubt about the truth. Rather, he should quickly sense the source of the error and clarify it. And this is his saying, and is not impulsive in answering. He waits before answers. And this is actually from ease of comprehension and proper examination of the deceiver's argument to understand the difference in the words. And the second virtue is that he asks what needs to be asked about that matter, and he does not ask for a logical proof in natural science, nor for a scientific argument in the wisdom of logic and similar to this. And if he is the one asked, he should also answer according to the category of the question. If he asks about matter of nature, of which is that they can be proven, he should answer from the category of the inquirer with a proof. And if he is asked about that which is lower than that, he should answer according to its science and style of proof. And he should also not be asked about a material explanation and give a formal explanation, or be asked about a formal explanation and give a material explanation, but rather he answers according to the purpose. And this is his saying. He asks to the point and he answers as is proper. And the third thing, he speaks to the first point and the last point last. So this is Mishnah 7. Then we're going to go to Mishnah 4 midos beholche lebeis midrash. Okay, 14. Okay, so there are 4 types among those who frequent the study house, Bet Midrash. He who attends but does not practice, he received the reward for attendance. He who participates but does not attend, he received a reward for practice. He who attends and practices is a pious person. He who neither attends nor practices, he is a wicked man. So on this Mishnah, I don't know why the Rambam is not loading, but I'm going to read it from the book I have. So the Rambam says, we just read that there are 5 different kind of people, and the Rambam here said that there are actually 7. And one of them is called, the other 2 levels, one of them is an evil, is a chet. Sorry, evil is rasha, and the other one is a sin or an improper conduct. Okay. So what is the difference between all these things? Actually, the Lubavitcher Rebbe on this specific Mishnah says the following. He says, there are 4 types among those who frequent the study house. And then it says, then the last thing it says, he who neither attend nor practices, he is a wicked man. So, but it said there are 4 types of people who are going to the shul. So what does it mean, those who are neither attending nor practicing? Meaning, it's not their emphasis. It's not their emphasis. They don't really put themselves all the way into it. And the lesson is that we always have to judge people positively, okay? So here we don't tell somebody, oh, this guy never goes to shul. No, sorry, he goes to shul. He doesn't, maybe he talks during davening, maybe he doesn't participate, maybe he does, but he at least goes to shul. That's a level. That's a level within the 4 people who goes to shul, okay? So we always have to look positively on these people. Now, in this, the Rambam commentary on this Mishnah says the following. So there are 7 kind of people. There is the poor, we said the crude person, Am Haaretz, like the majority of people. Golem is a smart person, but his character and wisdom is not refined. A wise man, a chacham, is somebody who perfected and completed their knowledge of Torah and their character behavior. A chassid is somebody who goes to the extra level beyond the letter of the law, and he goes towards one of the restrictions towards one side so he can perfect his midas, his attributes. Then you have the rasha, the wicked, who is the lowest level. And here you have the chote, the one who is a sinner. So these 7 terms are used to describe 7 types of people according to their different levels of intellectual and ethical virtues, as was explained in our commentary. Now, sometimes these terms are combined as befits the nature of a person. For example, if a person who has ethical shortcoming and is therefore described as wicked also possesses intellectual virtues, but he uses them for undesirable purposes, he is called a rasha arum, a clever, wicked person, okay? So somebody can be very clever, but he is using his cleverness to hurt other people. Who is an example? I think we started about last week. Dr. Noble, okay, what we call the Nobel Prize winners, right? Who was Dr. Noble? You know, he gave a lot of money to for people to get prizes, but what did he actually do? Well, he wasn't a good person. He invented the dynamite, and that in the wars caused a lot of damage to people, killed a lot of people. So he was not a good person. He invented a dynamite and a product which kills and hurts people. So that is not a good person, okay? He used his cleverness to hurt and kill people. Yes, we can use dynamite to blow up a mountain, so we can make a train, but basically that's not. And then there is a wicked person would harm others, meaning among his ethical shortcomings would also be qualities that hurt others, like rashness, cruelty, or the like. He's called a rashara, an evil, wicked person. Similarly, if he possesses intellectual virtues and ethical shortcomings that cause harm, he is called a chacham lara, a wise man with evil tendencies. As mentioned in the verse in Yirmiyahu, they are wise but oriented to evil. They do not know to precipitate good. In other words, they use their intellectual virtues for evil purposes rather than positive ones. For a person to possess all the intellectual virtues and all the ethical virtues to the extent that there is neither an intellectual nor an ethical virtue that he does not possess is indeed a rare occurrence. The philosophers say that it is highly improbable to find such a person, but it is not impossible. If such a person were found, they would call him a godly man. Like a Rebbe, like a tzaddik, our Rebbe, is a perfect man. He worked on his character and his midas and his knowledge to the utmost perfection. So we find that expression, the man of God or the angel of God. Moreover, I said that a man of this type is fit to be called Malach Hashem, an angel of Hashem, as it is written, and the angel of God ascended. The philosopher also say that it is impossible for there to be a person who possesses all the shortcomings, both intellectual and ethical, that exist. If such a person be found, however improbable, this would be, they refer to him as a wild beast or a poisonous snake and the like, using the names of predatory beasts. In this vein, Shlomo HaMelech used the term a bereft bear. So thus, there are 5 terms that combine qualities. 4 of them disparaging: a clever, wicked person, an evil, wicked person, a wise man with evil tendencies, and a bereft bear. There is one term that refers to the most praiseworthy of qualities, is a man of God or an angel of God. For the Torah has already termed a person who possesses all of the above, the intellectual and ethical virtues, as an angel of Hashem. Is it written, for the priest's lips will keep knowledge. Others will seek Torah from his mouth, for he is an angel of Hashem, Tzvakot. Knowledge includes all the intellectual virtues, for a person cannot develop himself without it. The phrase, seek Torah from his mouth, indicates perfection in ethics, as explained in chapter 4 in the introductory chapter. For this is the goal of the Torah, as it is written, and all its paths are peace, as explained in the 4th introductory chapter. Peace refers to the ethical qualities, and concerning such a person, the prophet uses the appellation, he's an angel of God. So we finished chapter 6 in Hilchos Deos. We finished Mishnah Pirkei Avos, chapter 5, talking about how we should improve ourselves. And now we're going to see a video of the Rebbe talking about how to count the days, how to perfect ourselves, that every day should be cherished as the most important thing. So I'm gonna just join from a different computer because the voice, something is wrong in this voice. Let me just join this video. Okay, let me just share the screen. Okay. Can you see the screen in here? Okay, I'm gonna start.
Niet erzählt Meissi, niet erzählt die Buri.
Can you hear it?
Der Linie, was jetzt viele Saime besteht, als der Zieltag. Niet erzählt Meissi, niet erzählt die Buri, niet erzählt Machschovis, erzählt Tag, se ein Tag, danach ist durchgegangen, noch 24 Stunden. Zählt und sagt, dass ich in 2 Tagen und danach durchgegangen, noch 24 Stunden. Zählt und sagt, dass das ist schlechter Jahn. Was jeder, ein jener, jetzt mit der Pschute, beschaß im Mechaven und den Pirush Amilis, in der Cheder kommt, das ist Loemer, in was besteht die Mitzwe, da steht die Mitzwe ab 10 Tag. Was sie das im Ganzen nicht verstanden, mit betracht sich, in was besteht die Sache von Zählung, bepasst es. Das zu bewohnen, soll nicht verlieren, soll dem nicht können zunehmen, und soll wissen, wo halt, soll können etwas aufstehen der Sache. Der ein und einzige sachliche in der Welt, was ein Mensch hat auf der Luft geschlitten ist, nicht mehr konnte es beim Zunehmen, nicht konnte es verlieren, und nicht beim Kon zunehmen, ist dort die Zeit muss man. Schaß geht durch ein Weg und am Misles, den ganzen Kimbalabos mit. Sie der Misles wird durchgehen, sie nicht durchgehen, hängt nicht davon an. Elam kann ihn hogen nehmen. Und der Eberster hat angestellt, allein ich weiß so, und der Eberster angestellt, dass geht, ein Rege, noch ein Rege, nicht mehr und nicht weniger, nicht auch in 2 Gorin bebasachas. Und ich sah, als ein Rege soll gehen verloren, wo ein Teil Semme sagt, dass das ein Leben weiß. Direkt sagt, hochen wir noch in der Scheile, was kommt zu von Zählen? Nicht konnte es verlieren, nicht konnte es beim Zunehmen, nicht konnte ihn durch mäßig sein. Aber Piquet sagt, dass es ein Mitzwe. Und nach jeder sind drauf mit Chuyo. Auf 10 Tag. Wo der Pier, was ist, an der Tag, hat in sich ein Tachlis, wo dort der Tachlis lo Eimer, der Mann sagt, als hat gebracht an Mincha Seime, mit allen Brotten, die bedauert, und erzählt nicht im Tag lo Eimer, verliert in dem Tag. Wo no der Fun ist a Musar Haskell und a Musar Niflo und a Musar Achia Chrochi. Aber ich habe Said guckt auf den Säge und das geht ihm nicht a Trefel, als geht durch a Rege, was guckt auf den Säge und tut gar nicht. Ist das nie der Pschat, als gekonnt hat am Mitz und hat nie getan, das hat verloren unter dem Rege. Wird gegeben dem Rege, lo homol jivolit, soll durchführen den Mäbischten Schlichus, durch den Ruf, was jetzt machen von dem Rege. Aber der Rege wird werden als Sach, als lebendige, als Sach, was hat in sich ein Inhalt, hat in sich ein Inhalt, verbunden mit dem, was hat beschaffen Zman. Wie Teres am Magi, wie gebracht mit Duvera, das Echet Aisei der Muven. Von Telo bekam mit Chemis a Punkt wie alle Nivroim und der Rebischter beschaffen Zman. Und der Rebischter Libora Kodesh Baruchu, Dovo Rechot Beilone Livatolo, ist Bishal der Rebischter beschafft den Rege. Was am Mechadisch betuwe bechol jeden Tomid meiste Brechis. Wie Teres am Shemte Nishara Yichud Vermune Barucho. A jeder Rege wird beschaffen von der Snai. Ganz meiste Brechis. Echet, der Etze Mitzis Azman, wo der Rebischter gemacht, jeder Mensch nur befragt Aiden. Für ein Schliach, soll zählen den Zähl. Als jeder Tag soll sein verbunden mit der meisten Teil. In dem Zman verbunden mit Loemer, in Klolis Zman verbunden mit Odlem Lomo, Ivolei, und Bishas Tag, als steht in der Schachli Sifre Musar, als Odlem Teig, Alibu Domo, Deine Teig Alimut Yomov, ist es nie der Pshat, an mir sagt das, gedem ich soll wissen, als sei darf sein Chasri Scholem, mir sagt das mit Amachoa, Haitoch, als Madach an Medaillet Alibut Domov, ist Allahas Kame ve Kame, als darf sein Medaillet Alibut Yomov. Die Teilner sind gar nicht verloren. Es gibt einen nicht, der verloren hat Tag von seinem Leben. Und das gekonnt sein nach jedem Scholem. Boba Yomim, wie es steht bei den nächsten Lieden. Avrom sagen, Boba Yomim teicht auf in Seher. Als Avrom ist gekommen mit allen seinen Tag. Jeder Tag hat gehabt, was zu beweisen, aber das gewähnt ein Tag, was nicht gibt. Das ist Avrom, Ojivis, Atov. Jeder Rege, was Aid hat und was Bichlal, was sie da in Welt, ist das Aveda Shena Chizeret. Mit Alter, die Verbosse der Seele, mit Gehe des Riechits, Allah, die kann noch Atef, der Chem, Atef, Stiesel, den Chappen, alles, was sie kommt.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, any questions?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, it's interesting. Look up about Nobel and why he made the prize and the whole idea behind it. Because he mentioned it last week, this week, and he did it. I mean, dynamite is not a terrible thing, if depending what you're using it for, as everything else. So-
right, but if he made it and it's being used mostly to bombs and hurt people, and to make from him a big macher,
Well,
it's
The story I heard
counterintuitive.
is that he basically did it because his brother died from dynamite. So it said the paper said the man who created dynamite died by his own devices. But the prize, he used a lot of his money in order to create good things. all the other parts of the Nobel Prize, besides the chemistry, physics.
After he made his money from dynamite, that is when he started
Yeah.
to invest money in to give for them. Okay.
But if you,
know
when you
what?
think about it, it's used in Israel in order, you know what I'm saying? It's like everything else, it's a double-edged sword. Used
Okay.
in the right way and the wrong way.
Right.
You
So
could say the same thing about the atomic bomb. A little more devastating. Anyway, no, it's interesting, because he's mentioned both weeks, but the Pirkei Avot was good. I've seen that.
yeah.
It reminds me of one of the first lessons I was on with you. When you're talking about a year and a half ago or something. You're talking about right around Rosh Hashanah, about the different types of characters, so.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, thank you.
It's only us, right?
Um,
Just the two of us left. Okay.
Dr. Levine, I want to say one thing
Yes.
to the person who just talked about the dynamite story.
Yeah.
You know, this year, there was a movie in the world of Hollywood that made the grand entrance of the atom bomb. So the whole world looked at the atom bomb this past Academy Awards. Did anybody think about the coincidences of the atom bomb, of the people who are intelligentsia of the world, and realize it was for good, but it's been for bad? It's outweighed the possibilities of stopping advancement of
Okay,
war.
thank you.
You know?
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah.
Okay, good night.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos. Next week is Shavuos. We're not gonna have a shiur. I wanna wish you all the Kabbalah Satrira B'Simcha B'Pnimius. We should receive the Torah with happiness and internalize it and be Chassidish Yidden. Do be a Chassidim, like the Rebbe says, like the Rambam says. You should achieve intellectual virtues and ethical virtues. Good Shabbos.